Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a nightmare, the deafening clang of an iron gate slamming shut behind you, echoing through your very bones. The air is thick with the stench of dust, sweat, and metal, a suffocating weight pressing down on you. Welcome to ancient Rome around 80 AD, where the horrors of the gladiator world unfold before your eyes. Today we're diving into a chilling tale, one that reveals a fate for captive women so terrifying it was said to be worse than death itself. Stick with me as we uncover this dark chapter of history, a story hidden beneath the sands of the arena, buried in the shadows of time. If you're ready to explore the unseen, subscribe now and hit that bell icon to join us on this haunting journey. Let's step into the darkness together. You feel the rough shove of a guard's hand against your back, forcing you to stumble over damp, uneven stone. The flickering torchlight casts eerie shadows that dance and twist on the tunnel walls, like specters of the damned. You're not being led to the roaring arena above, where the crowd bays for blood. No, you're being herded deeper into the bowels beneath the Colosseum. Your fist is clenched tight around a single smooth river stone, a keepsake from your distant homeland. Its cool weight cuts into your palm, a small anchor against the suffocating heat and despair of these endless tunnels. You and the other survivors from Dacia, a conquered land far from here, are destined for the public spectacle of execution under the midday sun. Instead, you're being processed for the ludus, the gladiators' barracks. Why were you spared the quick death of the arena, only to be handed over to men who live and die by the blade? What horrors await in this lightless underworld that could possibly be worse than a public end? The arena offered a swift release, but these tunnels promise no such mercy. As the distant roar of the crowd fades, a new rhythm takes its place. You hear the heavy thud of wooden training swords striking posts, the grating scrape of a grindstone sharpening steel, and the harsh, guttural shouts of trainers barking orders. You're marched from the damp, claustrophobic tunnels into the cold, open air of a courtyard. This is the ludus, a fortress of discipline and death, where gladiators are forged into living weapons. You and the other captive women are shoved into a stone cell, the floor slick with moisture. Hours pass in suffocating darkness, the cold seeping into your bones, a stark contrast to the oppressive heat of the arena above. Finally, the door creaks open, and a man steps inside. He's not a soldier but an administrator, the Lannisters' bookkeeper, carrying a wax tablet and stylus. A lantern in his hand casts harsh shadows across his face as he inspects you. He reeks of sour wine and ink, his eyes cold and calculating. He doesn't ask for names. To him, you're not people. He walks down the line, treating you like livestock at a market. He grabs one woman's chin, forcing her mouth open to check her teeth, muttering numbers under his breath. 1, 2, as he takes inventory. You, the woman clutching the river stone, keep your head down, but your eyes are sharp, taking in every detail. You watch his hands, the two guards at the door, the dimensions of the cell, counting every pace. As he nears, you subtly shift the stone from your fist to the rags at your waistband, a hidden weight, a secret defiance. He stops before you, not looking at your face but assessing your hands, your shoulders, your height. He's measuring your strength, your worth. With a sharp scratch, he marks something on his tablet, doing the same for 3 other women. The rest are chained together in a line, and with a jerk of his thumb, he signals the guards to herd them out, back into the tunnels. Their fates are grim, some to the public slave markets, others to the sulfur mines, and some to the lupanars, the brothels built into the arena's foundations. But this separation isn't mercy, it's selection. You and the chosen few remain behind, the door bolting shut once more. You're alone again, but something has shifted. Your status is no longer the same. Hours crawl by until an older, scarred servant enters the cell. He carries no weapons, only a stack of rough, drab tunics. Without a word, he tosses them onto the wet floor and points, a silent command to change. This is the price of your so-called mercy. You're not destined for the public auctions or the mines. You now belong to the ludus itself. Your role is to wash the blood-soaked gear of the fighters, clean their cells, and serve the Primus Palace, the champion gladiators. You're no longer individuals with names or histories. You're tools, privileges, comforts, objects meant to keep the ludus's most valuable and volatile assets under control. As you pull the coarse wool tunic over your head, it reeks of lye and stale sweat. The river stone remains a cold, grounding weight against your stomach. You've been spared the public hell of the market, only to be locked into a private one. You're not just prisoners of Rome. You're prizes for Rome's prisoners. The ludus operates like a ruthless machine, and the Lanista is its cold, calculating engineer. He's the owner, the trainer, the master of this brutal world. He summons you and the other chosen women not to the fighter cells but to his private office, a room that smells of cedar, wax, and oiled leather. He doesn't shout or threaten. His voice is calm, precise. As he looks over a ledger, "You are not servants," he says plainly. "Servants are cheap. You are investments." He explains the harsh reality of your situation. The ludus is a powder keg, and his champions, the Primus Palace, are worth more than a senator's villa, hundreds of thousands of dollars in today's terms. These men are violent, unstable, and deeply superstitious. They need stabilizing influences to keep them focused, loyal, and ready to fight. You are to be given as kubernii, official companions or barracks wives. This, he claims, is the ultimate mercy. You'll share the champions' private quarters, their food, their status. You'll be protected from the guards, the lower-ranked fighters, and the horrors of the market. But this mercy comes at a hidden cost. You're no longer just captives of Rome. You're the personal property of a single man, a living reward to ensure his loyalty, to keep his mind off rebellion and fixed on the blood-soaked sand of the arena. The Lanista's gaze falls on you, the woman with the river stone. Your defiance seems to fill the room, a silent challenge. "You," he says, pointing, "are for Vindex, the Gaul, our champion. It is a great honor. He has asked for you." You stand still, the silence broken only by the faint scratch of his stylus on wax. Your eyes drift past him to a map on the wall, where your homeland is nothing more than a smear of ink in a distant corner. Your voice, dry and raspy, cuts through the quiet. "I serve no one." The Lanista doesn't flinch or grow angry. He leans back in his chair, his tone cold. "Serve? No. You will belong, or you will be forgotten." The escalation isn't violent. It's administrative, a calculated cruelty. You're not beaten, but you're moved. The other women, heads bowed, accept their tunics, oils, and braids, and are led to the champion's wing. But you, the defiant Dacian woman, are taken to the Cella Ostiarii, the gatekeeper's box, a stone niche carved into the main entrance of the ludus. It's not a dungeon cell. It's a display case, a place of subtle, crushing deprivation. You're given water and just enough stale bread to survive, barely enough to keep your strength. The gate nearby is a constant thunder of iron and wood as guards march past and fighters, slick with sweat and blood from training, stream by without a glance. You're at the center of this brutal world, yet utterly invisible, alone. The Lanista intends this isolation to break you, to make you long for the comforts the other women now have: warm food, clean rooms, the protection of their assigned champions. You're visible to all who pass, yet seen by none. The deprivation intensifies. The bread comes less often, the nights grow colder, biting into your skin like ice. The Lanista believes this solitude and public shame will erode your will. He's wrong. He doesn't understand you. The cell is stone, and your homeland was stone. The hunger is a fast, and your people fasted. The silence is a vow, and your people took vows. The Lanista thought he was locking you in a prison, but instead, he's given you a temple. The cold, smooth river stone in your hand is your only scripture, your connection to who you are. The isolation meant to punish you becomes your armor. You're no longer just a captive, you are a witness to a hidden truth. The purpose behind your fate becomes painfully clear. These captive women aren't just bodies, they're psychological tools, human shields meant to temper the gladiator's rage and keep them docile. The price of this so-called mercy is your soul. But the price of refusal isn't death, it's erasure, a complete stripping of identity. Every day, the champion Vindex passes by your cell. He stops, watching you through the bars with an unreadable gaze. You watch him back, unyielding. You've refused the master, but what happens when the monster decides he won't be refused? One evening, Vindex, the Gaul, stops at your cell as he always does, his massive, scarred silhouette looming against the torchlight. The guards keep their distance. He is the Ludus's greatest asset, a man worth a fortune, perhaps millions of dollars in today's money. This night, he doesn't just look. He speaks to the gatekeeper, and the grinding sound of a key in the lock pierces the silence. You stand, the river stone a cold weight in your hand. This is it, you think. The end. But he doesn't drag you to his quarters or lay a hand on you. Instead, he gestures with his head, a silent command. Walk. He leads you away from the polished champion's wing, past the roaring forge of the armory, and deep into the foundations of the Ludus, to a subterranean storage cellar. The air here is damp, smelling of earth, old wine and mold, lit only by a single flickering oil lamp. Vindex isn't a monster, you realize. He's a man like you, whose name was stolen and replaced with one that means champion. He walks to the far wall, a section of rough, unmortared stone, and levers out a large, flat rock, revealing a dark, hollow cavity behind it. This isn't just a hiding place for wine. It's a library of the lost. Inside, resting on a bed of dry moss, are dozens of small, humble objects. A piece of wood carved into the shape of a boar, a braided loop of bright horsehair, a tarnished silver disc marked with a crescent, a shard of blue glass smoothed by a foreign sea. Vindex reaches in and touches the small boar, his eyes meeting yours. He can't speak your language, but he doesn't need to. This is a wordless rite, a shared understanding. This is where we remember, where we preserve what Rome tried to erase. The hidden truth isn't one of violence, but of conspiracy. The Lanista thought he controlled his fighters with rewards like captive women. But beneath his feet, these fighters and the women assigned to them were building a silent, invisible world. They weren't master and slave. They were fellow prisoners, preserving the names, gods, and memories that Rome sought to grind into dust. Archaeological evidence supports this. In the year 2003, an excavation beneath the Gladiator Barracks at Carnuntum, Austria, uncovered small hidden caches within the walls of the living quarters. Spaces just large enough for personal, non-Roman items, concealed from official eyes. You look at the collection in the cavity, then at the river stone in your palm. It's no longer just a weight. It's a word, a name, a piece of your identity. Stepping forward, you place your stone into the hollow, setting it carefully between the silver disc and the carved boar. Vindex watches, then slides the heavy rock back into place, sealing the wall seamlessly. Your identity is safe, hidden in the dark. You were locked in a cell to be forgotten, but in the deepest shadows, you've finally been seen. Together you found a way to save your souls. But what good is a soul when the body remains trapped in a cage? The Ludus is a business, and like any Roman enterprise, it runs on records. wax tablets for daily schedules, papyrus ledgers for profit and loss. Surviving documents, known as laeturculi, list fighters' victories, specialties, the cost of their food, and even their medical care, sometimes amounting to thousands of dollars per fighter in modern terms. History is written in this ink, but it's also written in the gaps, the silences where the ink stops. In the Lannista's private ledger, the entry for Vindex, the Gaul, is meticulous at first. A string of victories noted in precise red ink. Then, nothing. The line goes blank. There's no record of a final match in the arena. No note of a sale to another ludus. No mention of a burial plot. It's a calculated void, as if the ink itself was forbidden to speak. And you, the Dacian woman, were never given a name in the books at all. You were just a number, a logistical asset tied to the champion's morale. When Vindex vanished from the ledger, so did you. The Cella Ostiari, the gatekeeper's cell, is simply listed as empty, ready for sanitation. This is the second death, not of the body, but of the record, a cold administrative erasure. There are no first-hand accounts from the barracks. The voices of the captives and champions are silent. Only whispers remain, found in the margins of other, more important histories. A fragmented letter from a wine merchant visiting the ludus mentions significant trouble with the Gaul champion, and a subsequent costly purging of the barracks inventory, but the details are lost, the papyrus torn. The Lannista's response is unrecorded. The official narrative holds firm. The subterranean cellar, the hidden shrine, doesn't appear on any known floor plan. It was likely deemed structurally unsound or simply inconvenient during the barracks' next renovation. It was filled with rubble, lime, and sand, then sealed. A new floor of concrete and tile, smooth and practical, was laid over it for a new generation of fighters. Buried beneath, the carved boar, the silver disc, and your riverstone were entombed. The great gate slammed shut, not of iron, but of time itself, sealing them beneath the new foundations of the empire under layers of pavement and progress. The roar of the arena crowd is long gone, replaced by the dry whisper of wind through ancient ruins. The great Colosseum stands as a testament to the victors, while the ludus fades into forgotten dust. But the stones remain, somewhere, in the absolute dark. That small, smooth river stone waits, a cold, hard ballast against the crushing weight of history.